let me just go through the risks involved in trading. Like I always say, without that risk, there is no opportunity. So the two really go hand in hand. But we want you to be aware of the risk, protect yourself against the risks. Of course, you know, we have books out on how to appropriately do that and structure that into your trading program. Also, too, we deal in a realm of probabilities. There's no guarantees when we take a trade that it's going to be profitable. So you really need to have that risk control in place. Always trade with money you can afford to risk, called risk capital. That's important. And if we talk about any trades or anything like that today, please run those by your financial advisor because we want to make sure they're suitable for you. They know your personal situation, they don't, so get their okay first. If we do any day trading today, this is for educational purposes only. The idea is to show you how to set up a simulated account and do some day trading and have some fun with that. But we're not recommending taking any of the trades that we may show you today if we have time to do that. Again, type your questions in. Feel free to type those in at any time. If you want help on our books, you know, with risk control, Elliott Wave, my new book, The Art of Trading, coming out later this year. It's going to be about 450 pages. I think it's going to be a really outstanding book, best one I've written so to date. A lot of good material in there. You can definitely pre-order that as well. And then, of course, our software, you can check that out. Many of you, of course, here already have that. So we're in pretty good shape there. So I just like to cover those administrational items when we get going. All right. So today I thought we'd have a little fun and set up. You can set up your own platform if you're using, you know, TradeStation. You can set up a simulated account for that as well. If you're using NinjaTrader, which I usually use in the day trading room, you can set that up like I'm going to show you how to set that up as well. And basically, the markets we trade are over here. Let me just circle that. You know, we'll take a run through. And these are the micro markets. You don't have to trade the micros. If you have a large trading account, you'd probably be just fine trading the regular full E-minis rather than the micros. But we're going to just thumb through those, look for some trading opportunities. And the fun thing about this, you know, for a lot of you that aren't day traders, this is still an excellent avenue for you to explore, because what you can do is if you have time during the day, you can actually, you know, trade the markets and get a very fast learning curve on how to use all the software tools. Because if you trade a very short time frame, you'll have things triggering a lot more often than in a longer time frame. So it can be an excellent training environment. And you know, when I talk about the fractal symmetry of the market, if you remove the X and Y axis, and if you removed even the time and even the market, you wouldn't even know what you were looking at. You know, the 1 minute chart very often can look just like a daily chart, provided there's good liquidity in the market. So keep that in mind, okay? I'm going to tune out the, I'm going to turn off the webcam so you can see the charts better. All right, so that's off now. So you should be able to see a full size chart. And let's go through this. All right, let's take a look at this. So on the situation here you're looking at, we got the 15-second chart here. That gives us a short-term look. We got the 1 minute here, kind of like an intermediate term. And then our long term is a whopping 5 minutes, right? So what I want to emphasize here is that what we try to do is we try to either scalp the markets using our PTF indicator, or we try to get into a trend trade using a combination of the pyramids and Elliott Wave. And so when we look at a market, we're kind of looking across all three time frames to get an idea of where we're at. So on the E-mini here, what we've got kind of interesting here, I'm going to open this 5 minute chart up. Notice we've been in a fairly significant pullback ever since the really the 18th. Actually topped out probably around the 17th, and then it's moved down. And so what we're seeing here now is a little bit of a consolidation right now. So I'm not sure there's much room left for some short trading here. There may be in a scalping situation, but I'd almost rather look for a long trade. I think maybe we may get some type of pull up. Let's see what the shorter time frames are showing. All right, well, it's still going down, so it's not ready for a long-term trade. And I say that simply because notice here we've got red and red. So we're still heading down. We don't have quite a bottom, nor do we have a short trade, because really here at this particular point, here's the PTF target. If we look at the 15-second chart, I don't think that's going to give us enough of a target as well for maybe perhaps a short trade. Well, maybe a little bit better on that. All right, so maybe we could take a 15-second short trade there and put our stop way above that area too. That's a possibility. So maybe if we come down and take out this low again here, we can think about a short trade. So let's put that down. So write that down as a possible short on the MES. Now, the next thing you got to do, if you're going to think about taking a trade here, is what trade size are you going to use? How big is the trade going to be? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to set this up for a simulated trade. So the first thing you want to do is go over into the NinjaTrader control panel. And what we're going to do is we're going to change this account size here to 100,000. Now you can put any number you want to in there, but that's how you would set that up. So that's the first step, is to get that set up, right? And then we want to put in the mechanism called a chart trader that allows us to actually trade this. Now you can use the Superdome as well. Next thing, let's go really quick and do this. So we got a $5 and a $3.50 margin on the ES. So it's starting to break down here a little bit. So let's put in a price of 4974, all right, 0.25. And our stop is going to be up here, let's just say around 49. I think it's 77, and let's just see, get a little more accuracy on that. Yeah, let's use 478. We can use that. So that's going to give us a trade size of around 124 with 120,000 or $100,000 account. So we can go short. Next thing we want to make sure that the owls are all set there. So we could go short and we would have a 2% risk. So let's just go 120 contracts short.
Order.
And get that order in. Okay, so now we're on the simulator and we've just put that in. And a couple things we want to do now is put our stop in, right? So I right click on the chart, okay, and we can put a stop market in, and we'll adjust this later, but let's get that above the market. And as I said before, our stop is going to be 4978. So let's go ahead and adjust that to 4978. Make sure that's okay. And we'll put that right about here. Okay, so now our stop is set. So as long as we don't get hit on the stop, we have an active trade here. So we'll have to see how it goes. And with this number of contracts in this high of an account, you'll see this account fluctuate quite a lot up here, okay? So here's, we're down 631. And if it fluctuates back to the downside, you'll see that figure change. So that will change, and that's an open position. One of the hardest things people have with day trading is the fact that if they trade too much trade size too soon before they're ready, they tend to freak themselves out during these fluctuating times. So you always got to keep that in mind. Now, the trade is valid until stopped out. So, you know, we just kind of let it run, and you have to be okay with that fluctuation. And then if we get down to the target zone here, then we look for taking some profits. Now, the other thing too is we've got a red PTF here. And so the red PTF is saying we should go below this low here. So if we get down there, if we happen to pick this okay for a short trade, and that will depend on if we pick the top right here, then if we get down here, this will turn probably yellow. We could scale out half a position here if we want to. So we'll have to see how this unfolds. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a horizontal line at least there, okay? And let's see how that goes. All right, so that's one trade we have active right now. And we have our stop in place, and this is a buy stop market order. So kind of fun to see that, right? All right, so let's come back to that. Let's go through and see if we have any others. Let's take a look at the MNQ. MNQ is a similar situation in that we've got a red PTF here. We probably got some more downside. My only problem with this one is I don't think it's come up. It looks to me like it needs to retrace, and hopefully that retracement will not be totally reflected on the MES trade, but it certainly could be. So we kind of will take a look at that and see. So I don't want to be too heavy and go too short on too many in the same sector. So these are all equities. So if this trade stops us out, I want to make sure I'm not overloaded in this sector at this particular point, because I have a fairly full position on, right? I have a 2% risk. I could take another trade, but let's wait and say, make sure we're going in the right direction first. All right, the next trade here, we can take a look. We got the E-mini Dow, but you're going to find all these are very similar. Next one we can take a look at is crude oil. Let's take a look at crude oil. This is the MCL contract. And on this contract here, okay, we've got some pulling down. I'm trying to figure out where the target is. I just don't like to take a trade unless I have a target. It's kind of a messy market. Yes, it's moving up. The pyramids are bullish, but where is it going? Tough to answer that on that time frame. Let's see if we can go out a little bit further and answer it on a 60-minute chart. And it looks like we've got a red PTF. So any movement up here, all right, probably should be temporary. But you know, when you're day trading such short-term time frames, that means nothing, okay? That could turn around and still make a profitable bullish trade. So, all right, not so happy with crude oil. I think I'll pass on that one. Let's come down and see what we've got on MGC. All right, this has come down. This is the gold contract. It's come down. We're having a target right about here on this. Let me redraw that from earlier. So kind of right around there. All right, let's wait for a pull up. I would wait for this to retrace a little bit before actually going short. So something more along the lines of a move kind of back into that target zone and then maybe look for a short trade. Why am I biased to the short side? I got red here, red here. This will probably go green. So I'm thinking probably coming back to this in about a half an hour. This should be maybe getting close to a short trade, may even be an hour. But I don't want to go long here. I'm not going to trade this right in here. I'm going to wait for this. We haven't really gotten a hook down, so we may get one more hook. Picking the bottoms can be pretty tough, okay? NBT is the Bitcoin, not enough liquidity. That's an example of a market with poor liquidity. So you don't want to trade that, right? Here's your gold market that we looked at before. NG, natural gas, is not a bad one as well. Let's go take a look at that if I can find it. Where is that bad boy up here? Here it is. Okay, NG is a perfectly good market to trade, okay? And this one here, okay, kind of topping out a little bit. If I got into a long trade here, a little late, I think. So I'm going to leave that one alone. And let's go back and see if our MES trade is doing anything. All right, whoa. Okay, it came very close down here, all right, to the target, but not the PTF target. So not quite yet, right? So why don't we just keep an eye on this one? We've looked at some of the others. We've got a pyramid here. I'm not going to put the stop at the pyramid. That's my choice, simply because we haven't had a decent pullback up. I want to keep this here until we can finally take out a bottom here. So we'll just keep that short for a little bit. And as soon as we hit that red line, we'll probably scale out a half of the position and then keep the rest on for the target on the 15-second time frame. And we'll see how that runs out here. So let's see. So as you can see, the unrealized gain is popping all over the place, okay? It goes from negative to positive, negative to positive, all right? And that you have to be okay with that. And if the numbers are too much, in other words, this is a large trading account, right? But if your numbers are too much that it freaks you out, you got to lower the trade size, because you have to have your emotions intact. But this is a great way for everybody to learn how to trade the markets. Now, my tools are telling me to stay short, okay? I've got a bearish pyramid on the 1 minute, 15-second, and everything is red on the 1 minute. So there's really no need for me to freak out and get out of this market. Doesn't mean the trade could be profitable. What could happen here is we may have one more situation where we have something like this and then it sells off. All right, that's very possible. But it's worth the trade because the setup looks fairly decent at this particular point. So let's just see what happens with that. So you keep it on. Now this is a 1 minute time frame, and notice we're not really rushed. It's very, it's very, we just now at this particular point, we almost have to turn into a passive mode because we cannot control the market. The only thing we can control is our stop, which is in place. We entered, okay. We've done everything we can do now. We're in a monitoring stage. So you can't force anything at this particular point. Yes, you could move your stop and so forth, but when we originally took the trade, we felt that that was a good place for the stop at that point. We haven't had that much movement, so why move it? All right, again, I can't guarantee this trade is going to be profitable. Nobody knows. But I can tell you if we get stopped out, we'll lose no more than 2% on this trade, which is 2,325. So that's 2% of my trading account. That's something we can afford to lose if the trade does not work out. Okay, so now we're down $931. See how quickly that changes? All right, so we'll see. So this is a great way, whether you're a day trader or not, to get familiar with price action and also to get a feel for what you're comfortable doing. And so this is using a simulator, and that is why I think simulated trading is just so helpful, because it allows you to get all the kinks out. It allows you to practice without having to worry about losing money, or maybe you don't have much money right now. You're in a position where you had a financial setback, or you're saving your money to actually trade. Okay, nothing wrong with that, but you can practice. You can hone your skills down in the meantime, okay? All right, so now we're, bouncing back and forth still. And notice if you watch every price bar, keep a track of your emotions. How do you feel? When it moves against you, are you beating yourself up? Are you feeling disappointed? Because really this trade has not failed until we're stopped out. And then when we're stopped out, which is a possibility, we have to realize, again, were the reasons for taking the trade okay? And if the answer is yes, you move on. If not, you learn from the trade. And that's all you can do in this business. But the idea is don't get down on yourself because prices either move against you or do not. I can tell you in my personal trading, the price, I enter based on my tools and so forth. And for most people as well, you do not stay in a trade without experiencing some negative loss on an open position. So in other words, the open position will fluctuate from loss to positive, positive to loss, back and forth. And then hopefully what you want to do is hopefully it'll move in your direction. Okay, that's the idea. All right, so we got a green owl showing up here. Okay, so there we have that. So we'll see where we go with that. We have our stop pretty tight here. Now, if we get stopped out and the tools are still indicating a bearish trade is acceptable, then we try it again. All right, if you want to stick with that market, stick with it and try it again. A lot of times when you're trying to get in early on markets or going in a direction, sometimes it takes 2 times. If it takes 3, chances are the best you're going to do is break even on that setup, so to speak. Any questions on that? Any questions? And believe me, nobody really knows the outcome of how this is going to work. But we go with the probabilities. Now, when you test your own system, what you want to make sure you do is test it with a high enough sample size so you know something has a probability. If you say, okay, I took this one trade, it worked out really good, and therefore it's going to be my rule, that's not the way you want to do it, okay? You want to always work in a realm of testing your ideas, your trading rules with enough trades so it's meaningful. kind of a fun thing to do today, though. And this is exactly kind of what the day trading room is all about. This is exactly what we do in the day trading room, this type of thing. We also have what we call a free-for-all day in the day trading room, where we actually have a day where all the participants are allowed to really make a trade, okay, in terms of for the group. So they, tell us what I become an order taker, and they tell me what to do. Otherwise, I'm showing you on the other days, the normal days, how I would trade the market using our software tool. So it's a great experience for that. All right, so we're seeing a little breakdown, which is nice. Okay, I was hoping we'd see this before getting stopped out. There we go. All right, so now I'll probably cover, we've got a lot of red here, but I'm still gonna take some, I think I'm gonna take 50 off here. So I'll buy back 50 and lock in a little profit, okay? Lower my risk a little bit. We're still going down. We got red PTFs, but it did hit that target. And this PTF here should turn yellow. This one's red now, so it's probably still gonna go down. So I didn't take off 60, but let's change this now immediately to represent the new trade size. So let's drop this down to, there's the yellow PTF. We'll drop this down. Always have your stops in place, okay? Always have those in place. And there we have that. So now we're pretty good here, okay? We still got a red PTF here. We've also got an inside price bar here. There we go. Let's see if we reach down. And I may take out a few more, and that way I can pretty solidify a good trade here, especially when I move my stop down. There we go. Okay. So now we're kind of moving down there. I'll buy another 20 back there. Okay, and we'll adjust this now up to the 50 level. Now you got a choice here, okay? Scaling out is where you can be creative or not. All right, so I've got yellow PTF, so they basically were an indication to do that. We hit our target zone down here, so now I've got to move my stop here, okay? Now I got to move it tight because we hit our target, see? And we got PTF, so I don't want to give this market any room to reverse here. Okay, so let's see what happens with that. So we got an inside price bar forming here. Let me just make sure I got that set as low as I can. I think I do, yep. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see how we work out on this. Now on the next price bar, I'll basically, at this particular point, follow those price bars down. If we get another red PTF, then what I'll probably do is splice it. I'll probably put 25 on the trailing stops and put 25 up here until the PTF returns yellow if it goes red again.
Order filled.
Okay, so now we're out. So we made a little over $1,000 on that trade, okay? And basically just following the tools. All right, now if it goes down again, so be it. I traded my plan, okay? So that's all I care about. So that's the kind of thing you can do, all right, when you do the simulated trading to get used to the market and how it behaves, right? Kind of cool, isn't it? All right, so, even if you don't have any money, you should simulate trading. And you can do this on day trades, you can do this on position trades and so forth, okay? So the PTFs were really excellent. So was the target zone on the 15-second, because basically it showed me we had a wave 5 target here on the 15-second. We had yellow PTFs, so it was time to leave and ratchet that market up. All right, thanks everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you back here next week. Have a great week.
Serving traders worldwide since 1998, TradersCoach.com provides educational services for traders and investors alike. We have developed trading software to help traders of every level improve their skills. Our site is dedicated to providing you with all the resources, software, and educational material you need to achieve your trading goals. It is because of our years of experience, attention to detail, and our exceptional customer service that TradersCoach.com is the right choice for you. Call us today.